and oil. We're going to go from gold to the black gold. Julian on earlier saying bullish overall, but a few concerns in the short term. Ainsley, do you concur?
Yeah, absolutely. And Shukri, this is what happens when you make too much money, honey.
They come along and they tax you. That is so true. Okay, let me introduce you again because we don't need that in your oil cross. So we just had Ainsley, we just said you're on the gold. Now we're going to the black gold. Oil prices, according to Julian, we're still a long-term bull. I'm certainly still a long-term bull. What's going to happen short term?
Short term, we've got a few things. Like we were talking, she's ended up really flat at the end of this week. We've had quite the move on oil. As you can see, we're just looking at the 4-hourly chart. We had quite a bit of a pullback. That was actually in relation to what's happening worldwide, and particularly let's focus on India and the crisis in India with the second wave of the pandemic and their inability to handle the overwhelming disaster. That's really just shocking. But it's a bit of an indicator because India is such a big economy with oil. It's just, okay, we were looking, and it was very simplistic outlook when oil started to rally. We had the vaccine. We were thinking that the light's at the end of the tunnel, all the economies are starting to get a bit of traction, starting to move. And all of a sudden, this last week has actually shown, no, hold the phone. No, it's not happening. And it's very, very volatile at the moment. And oil is moving very, very, in a very fickle manner with regard to what is happening with the fundamentals. So the fundamentals are saying, yeah, don't like what's happening. We're not opening as quickly as we would hope. We've got now a couple of other strains, the UK strain, the South African strain, the Brazilian strain, that's impacting that. And those strains, by the way, are all far more transmissible and in an airborne manner. They're not super mutations of the COVID, but what it's saying is we're not opening as quickly as we thought. We've got more economies going back into lockdown. We've got more economies just putting the handbrake on everything, and that is impacting oil and economic outlook. So we've had this very, very ordinary, and you can see from the EMAs, they've just all stitched around the weekly pivot there. Don't want to know anything, don't want to make a decision in either direction, and just floated. So impact, float, where are we going to next? Now, I'll go to the daily, and the reason I've got these arrows all over the place is I was following a 53-year chart on a seasonal, 53-year seasonal chart, on oil. And this is what we found. It was to go consolidate through January. At the end of January, it was to move up to a double top, so double arrows here, come back down, consolidate, a push back up, and we said to push back up at the end of last week? Yeah, not this week just gone, not this week before last. Oh, sorry guys. And we saw that pull up, and then we saw it come back down towards the end of coming into the last week of April, with the seasonal chart telling me that we've got a bit of a consolidation, a bit more of a move down on oil. And this is what we're seeing. This last week has just been a nothing week, as opposed to this month and a half in here of nothingness. And then for May, the chart that I'm following that so far has been able to give me all these arrows on my daily chart is telling me a bit more of a pull down first couple of days of May before a rally into May. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm just watching this carefully. We don't have too much to go with. We're bouncing off the monthly pivot here with a ring low. Let's just have a look at that. The chart that I'm looking at and following on a seasonal basis is telling me we're going to go to the end of April. So we're the 25th, it's Anzac Day. 25th of April, we're just going to go down, up and down for a little bit more, and then May is a different story. So that's what we're looking at the moment. Going forward, I think this week we'll just see a little bit more of this filter out, this price action going sideways with, call it the fickleness, call it the fundamentals, just call it just not what the market expected to be happening. Let's see how that pans out. But OPEC are keeping a close handle on production as well. And if that's the case and things pick up during the week, I think we're going to see it take off again and be in conjunction with what we see in the charts. Love a good chart.
Cheers, Ainslie. Interesting time for. I really like your analysis on the chart too. Ring low on the monthly pivot. It's closed above last week's weekly pivot. The high of that is this week's weekly pivot. So if we take out the high of Friday's bar, I like where we're heading with oil. I really do. Well, I've been a bill for a little while, so I guess that is. You've got to be careful. Your little biases don't sneak into analysis. I like your analysis. Thank you for that, Ainslie. Have a wonderful evening with the girls, and we will talk to you tomorrow.